Some of you requested a Draw My Story for my birthday vlog, so here goes. Exactly 32 years and 1 day ago, on April 21, 1988, I was born at the University of Santo Tomas Hospital. It wasn't an easy experience for my mom. She said my dad was out on a business trip when her water broke. She called her brother to quickly come pick her up. It was raining. It was very dramatic. She got to the hospital and the doctor told her they had to get me out right away or else I might die. She went to surgery and out came a healthy, giant baby. I was super long and big, which was a surprise because both my parents are pretty short. My dad is only 5'5" and my mom 5'2". I'm the youngest of 3 children and the only one to get the recessive tall gene. I have an older brother who's 4 years older than me, and a sister who you probably already know from my vlogs. She's 2 years older than me. Growing up, we shared a lot of clothes. People thought we were twins because my mom liked to dress us in identical outfits. At least until I outgrew my sister. Sorry sis, it pays to sleep early and drink your milk, as ordered by the mothership. One of the most memorable stories my parents told me about my childhood was when the big 1990 earthquake hit Manila. I was alone with our help at home. We used to live on the 12th floor of a building. My dad ran all the way from his office, up the stairs of the building, and into the room where I was sound asleep. All our help were crying out of fear, and there I was, still dreaming about God knows what. I was probably thinking I was on a swing cradle or something. My dad then quickly carried me out of the room and ran back to his office. He was in such a rush that by the time we got back to his office, he puked everything out of exhaustion. And there I was, this 2-year-old girl, oblivious of what just happened, still sleeping. Poor daddy. My dad was adamant about having us attend a Chinese-Filipino school to keep the culture alive. He only wanted us to study at St. Jude Catholic School, or SJCS as we call it. I studied there from preschool all the way till high school. During my time, SJCS was known to be one of the strictest schools with the most homework, intense math, and Chinese classes, and lots of memorization. Thankfully, I was pretty good at these things, so I did very well in school. I always had honors, was always a class officer, and was pretty active with our cheer dance and dance troupe as well. I think this is why, come my college years at Ateneo de Manila University, I took a step back and wasn't really as active anymore. All I wanted was to enjoy my college experience, and that's exactly what I did. I was finally able to explore and go out of my comfort zone. You see, my parents are pretty traditional and very, very strict, especially with me because I was the youngest. When the opportunity came for me to go abroad for a student exchange program, it was difficult to convince my parents to allow me to go all the way to France for a semester. It's way too far, my mom said. What if something happens to you? My dad worried. But in the end, I was able to persuade them and off I went. The baby of the family was finally growing up. For 4 months, I lived in my dorm on campus away from my family and the comforts of my own home. 4 other students from Ateneo were with me at that same school in France. None of us could cook to save our lives, so needless to say, we had a very unhealthy diet. We only knew how to fry processed foods, microwave Uncle Ben's rice, and cook pre-cooked meals we bought from our local grocery. I'm the baby of the house, so I also had no idea how to do household chores. All I could do was wash dishes. Very well, if I may add. My time abroad was the first time I actually operated a washing machine and dryer, and it was a pretty funny experience considering all the labels were in French. A nice old lady who didn't know how to speak English tried to teach me and my friends how to use it. The first time I operated it myself, I remember just sitting there and staring at my clothes go round and round in the washing machine. I was amazed. Life skill achieved. This was also my first time traveling without my family, truly learning the ins and outs of a foreign country without depending on my parents. Every weekend, my friends and I would travel to different cities around Europe to make the most of our time there. We were students trying to stay within a budget, so we stayed in hostels and eventually apartments for rent, before Airbnb was around. We made the most of our weekend trips, making sure we cover major city attractions in the most cost-efficient way possible. We'd squeeze in as much as we can, which also resulted to us going all amazing ways every single time because we almost always risked missing our flight or train ride back home. Still, it's one of my most favorite memories, and I truly believe I became more independent, empowered, and street smart because of my time abroad. I was finally going out of my little bubble, training wheels off. What happened after graduating university or my life as you know now was nowhere near where I expected life to take me. As I've said, my family is pretty traditional. I mean, my dad had one dream, to have one kid become a lawyer, another a certified accountant, and finally, a doctor. It's the dream trifecta of every Asian parent. My brother became a lawyer, my sister is now a certified public accountant, and then there's me, the child who excelled most in school and yet, ironically, the only one who didn't go the conventional route. You see, I had every intention to go corporate, or at least I thought I would. So during my senior year in college, I started an online store called Coexist with my sister, just so I could get my fashion dreams out of my system before I go out into the real world. We didn't have big goals. All we wanted was to have a creative outlet, more of a hobby or sideline than an actual business. We started selling accessories we sourced abroad first. Then eventually, I couldn't help but design a few clothes, so we started selling my designs as well. Soon after, local magazines and fashion stylists started contacting us, and Coexist started getting features. We grew pretty quickly, so after graduating, I asked my mom if I could go to fashion school for a few months. Just something to do while all my peers were on their bum period before finally starting their careers. While I was in fashion school, my sister and I kept working on Coexist. We joined bazaars and pop-ups. I remember our first big bazaar, I came up with this marketing promo and it was such a hit that we sold around 200,000 plus or something in just one day. I was on a high. I mean, those are my designs. We sold that. People actually lined up for my designs. Wow, I couldn't believe it. During this time, I also started blogging, mainly just on Chictopia and Lookbook so that I could advertise my designs. I didn't really see myself as a blogger just yet. But then, eventually, I started posting OOTDs too, even those that didn't feature my designs. And that's when I realized, hey, I like this. It's fun. Not in a million years did I think blogging would open so many doors for me. I remember the biggest break I got during the early days was when I joined this contest on Lookbook for Mango It Girl. It was the second year they were doing it. The first year featured Chiara Ferragni and many other notable Lookbook stars. Andy Torres won that year. I joined the second year but wasn't really expecting much. I mean, I hoped, but didn't expect. But oh my god, I won! Out of the thousands of fashionable girls, I won. Mango flew me into Barcelona not once, but twice to shoot with them. I was on Mango's online website campaigns. I couldn't believe my eyes. Everything felt so surreal. I still feel the same way now actually whenever I book campaigns and go on all these trips with my favorite brands and peers. I truly am one lucky girl. But you know what? It wasn't all wins back then. Life definitely knew how to balance things out. I remember my blogging and design career truly took off right after I went through my first adult breakup. I was single for maybe around 4 or 5 years after that before love came knocking on my door once again. And I didn't really mind. It took me a few months, but I learned to love being single. I didn't mind being the third or fifth or ninth wheel even. By the time I met the guy who'd sweep me off my feet, I was so comfortable being single I wasn't really looking for a partner. So uninterested was I that when my future husband tried to make his first moves on me, I honestly thought he was just a chatty guy making random conversation. Fast forward to 6 years later, and we're now happily married with 3 fur babies, a cozy home, and a few passion projects we've managed to turn into our business. So what's next on my story? I don't know. Yes, I want a family of my own sometime in the future. Yes, I want to build our dream home. Yes, I want to work on a small empire with my husband. I guess you can say my story is now our story. Our story, our dreams, our future reality. And that's the story of my life. For now at least. The end. I hope you guys enjoyed this super duper quick drama story. I tried my best, so please don't judge. If you like this vlog, then make sure to give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment below. See you guys on my next vlog.